and I would like to get going on it. So, um, welcome everyone to tonight's meeting, November 23rd. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Tom Lombardi,
I am here.
James Borelli, Christopher Palmieri,
Here.
Christopher Poulos,
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky,
Here.
Michael Del Santo,
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo. I see Val here. William Dudzik,
Here.
Victoria Triano.
I'm here. Thank you, everybody. Madam Clerk, would you lead it? Let's all stand for the prayer and then right into the flag salute, please.
Heavenly Father, may you continue to bless and keep Southington and her people. May you direct and lead this council in all her endeavors as we seek to do what is right and just for all people. Amen.
Amen. Would you please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the
allegiance
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. May I have for the minutes of last week's last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Thank you, Councilman.
And that Mike Del Santo.
Okay, very good. I only stayed for half the meeting, so my approval will only be until I left the meeting. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain,
Corrections,
Chair. I missed the last meeting.
There's an abstention. Very good, thank you. That was Jim, I believe, right, Jim?
Yes, that was Jim.
Okay,
I
thank
missed
you.
it.
Well, you're with us tonight, Jim. That's important. Let's get right into councilperson's communication.
Madam Chair.
Who? Oh, Mike Del Santo. All right, Mike, go ahead. Why don't you go?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had the honor and the privilege of attending the Veterans Day event at the American Legion, along with Councilwoman DiPaolo and Councilman Mr. Vice Chair Lombardi. As usual, it was a wonderful event. It's just such an honor to see the folks that come out and to see the honor guard, and it really warms my cockles. Every year I go, and it's just a wonderful event. I was fortunate to bring my dad, who is a Vietnam veteran, and it's always great to see the young and old veterans milling about, true heroes. And I just want to congratulate the American Legion for putting on such a spectacular event. It was very quick this year because of the COVID, which was good because it was a chilly day anyway. So kudos to the American Legion for holding the Veterans Day event.
That's terrific. Thank you all that were able to attend. Chris Palmera, I see your hand first. So
Yeah, just to tag on to that.
yes.
In normal circumstances, they actually come into our schools
Yes.
and really give the day some significance for our students. And unfortunately, this year we really weren't able to do that. But I just want to express our appreciation for them, obviously doing that year after year, this year being unique, but just to thank them for reaching out every year to our students.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. It's so very important because they never forget, and they understand how important it is to pass the information on to our next generation. So we so appreciate all of them. Thank you, Chris. It was very important.
Madam Chair, I have just one other story before you move on.
That's okay.
A couple of weeks ago, I was also fortunate to attend the opening or ribbon cutting for the Walkley Fountain under the direction of Mr. Chaplinsky. He's worked tirelessly over the last few years to get the fountain up and running. And many thanks to Paul and to Reno Pelletier and Mrs. Pelletier. They were there. A lot of the town council people were there as well, and other people who were very involved in getting the fountain moved from Mr. Pelletier's property to downtown Plainville. So once again, congratulations to Councilman Chaplinsky.
It was a long process, Paul. Congratulations to your committee, to
very hard.
donated. It was a wonderful.
Very nice.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You had your hand up, Chris. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I
Yeah.
have two quick items. Last evening, I learned of some news, and at the same time I learned of some news, I was getting contacted from Chairwoman Triano. It was kind of like we were thinking on the same wavelength, and we connected late in the night, 9:30, and we're proud to inform each other that a student at Oceana Elementary School has been named the 2021 Kid Governor. That's a process that happens with all fifth graders in the state of Connecticut, statewide. There's a essay and a platform that these students put together. And this student, then there's a vote of all fifth graders across the state. And this student was successful. There was a little ceremony on November 20th at Oceana. And I just have to say that, despite this pandemic, despite the challenges that our community faces, our schools face, we all get the emails, our students seem to always find a way to rise to the top. And and this young woman, Reese Naughton, has a platform about pandemic health, which I'm sure we'll find out more about as time goes by. Chairwoman Triano was first thing she said is we're going to honor this student, and we are. And I just wanted to share that news out. And Chairwoman Triano, do you want to add anything from your perspective that you've heard? I know this is kind of a joint announcement.
Sure. When I saw the announcement on the news, I was really quite proud of Reese and her achievement. Her platform is one of positivity and changing the world for the best. And my hope is to get Reese with us on our first meeting, our only meeting in December, on December 14th, I believe that is. And she'll be able to inform us of her platform and some of the things that are going on. Also, I think we as a community need to recognize the governor-elect, the kid governor-elect, and we will hopefully be able to. We're not sure what's going to happen with COVID and whether or not we'll be allowed in the schools or whatever. But we'll make sure that she is honored from the town council and the whole community. And I know that we spoke a little bit about some things in the works. I think until everything is really settled, I don't think we need to project what we're going to do. I think just we will be talking more about it, and it's going to be quite interesting and quite exciting for all of us. So congratulations right now, preliminary, from the town of Southington to Reese Naughton, a fifth grader at Oceana Elementary School. You've done us proud, and you deserve all of the accolades that will be coming your way. I know, Chris, you talked about perhaps getting some very lovely dignitaries into town to commemorate this, and let's see how all that goes. And certainly we will have something in place that we'll be able to announce by December 14th, if not before. So thank you very much. It was funny because we both were thinking the same thing. We spoke about it in our group, I know, and while we were talking, you were calling, and I was getting back to you. So it was good. It was very, very good. Chris, do you have anything else you wanted to share tonight?
Just one more thing, and we're in the Thanksgiving week, and I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and share that I'm grateful to serve alongside everyone on the council and to serve the community of Southington.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else with council matter communication? I have one more thing. Yeah, Chris Palmieri.
Sorry, I just had to unmute. A couple things. First of all, I don't know if anyone else here needed to use the transfer station this past Saturday, but wow, was busy. So it just seems like a little bit busier than normal. And I'm not talking about brush, I'm talking about the actual operations. So I don't know if we can maybe look at reviewing that and maybe add an extra half a day, an extra day, on an off Saturday, because the line was really farther than I've ever seen it down Old Turnpike Road. So
Yeah, if I may,
discussed that this morning, Chris, at our public works staff meeting. And what I've asked the director to do is look into opening up on all the Saturdays in November next year, except, of course, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. The reason why is, and there's probably a lot of reasons that science could tell me, but the last 2 Novembers have been relatively warm, and the people doing a lot of yard work. Even this November, people are doing a lot of yard work, doing a lot of cleaning work. So I've asked the director to put in next year's budget, opening up every Saturday except for the one I mentioned at Thanksgiving. So yeah, we actually we had 1,700 cars on Saturday, which is usually double of what we have now. As you know, we started opening up every other Saturday. So November has not turned into a, how should I call it, a winter month anymore. It's still a fall type cleanup month. So to answer your question, we did talk about that, and next year's budget will have the Saturdays in it.
Okay. And I'm also wondering if maybe, Mark, we can look at December, because it was not, in fact, there was no line. Once you got to the entrance, there was no wait whatsoever for brush or leaves. It was all the actual operations of the transfer station. So, I don't know if you could just at least look into it and see if it warrants maybe opening one more time in December, just because it was, like I said, I've never seen it that busy.
Yeah, we're obviously going to be opening up the weekend. Not open this weekend, obviously, but we'll be opening up the following Saturday, and we're going to be watching it closely. But to answer your question, the good news is we've been having great weather. That's why we're ahead of schedule on leaves. But the bad news is that opens us up to a lot of people going to the transfer station. So we may have to spend a little bit more money next year and keep the transfer station open longer.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then I have one more thing, timely with the fact that we had Hartford Healthcare at our last meeting. So I just want to share with the community, Hartford Healthcare is actually sponsoring a pop-up COVID-19 testing site right in Southington at the Calendar House tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. What's important about this is there's no appointments required. There is no order from a healthcare provider required. And this is for all ages, individuals with symptoms, symptomatic or without symptoms, which is called asymptomatic. And this is the PCR test via the nasal swab, not the rapid test. So just a thank you again to Hartford Healthcare for bringing this event to our community, because I know there's many people that are looking for sites. So we're lucky to have one right in town.
We are. That's great.
And it is, Councilman Palmieri, and it's free. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. There's no cost.
Great. Yes.
Right. Very good. Yeah, with the backup right now to get tested, it's really very welcomed here in town, by all means. Anybody else?
Madam Chair?
Yes, of course, Val. Go ahead.
Good evening. So I just wanted to bring up the documentary, No Small Matter, that Joanne Kelleher from the Early Childhood Collaborative of Southington had sent along. So I don't know how many of the counselors were able to watch the documentary. And Joanne did follow up with a summary in our emails today. I'm just wondering, the summary, her summary raises a lot of really good questions about early childhood education in Southington. And I know Steve Medancy, our assistant superintendent, was part of the discussion after the documentary. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I don't know if this is something that maybe we can put on a future agenda, have Joanne Kelleher come in and speak to us. Maybe talk about what the needs are in Southington specifically so that we can ask some questions, maybe look at what other towns are doing. They raised some issues about funding. So I just wanted to put that out there. I did watch the documentary. It's excellent. And, I think it's something that a lot of us as elected officials, might want to look at.
Very good. Thank you. That's very good. Thank you, Val. Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay, Tom, you can go ahead, and then Paul, I've got you up next.
Thank you. Actually, just a quick question for Councilwoman DiPaolo. Where's the link? Is there a place where we can watch that? I'm looking at her email right now. Can you just let us know where we can see that?
You know, Tom, they had put it, you had to register and then it was open for a certain number, just a couple of days.
Okay.
I know Joanne had put in here that they were going to purchase a DVD, but she also said you could watch it on iTunes and Google Play.
Okay, so
So
we'll
if you
find
want me
it.
to get more information from her, I can definitely do that.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So my other items, I had a few items I wanted to talk about this evening. First, I wanted to thank the Barnes Museum, and I know we are all aware of our friend John Atasian, who volunteers every year down at the Barnes Museum to do holiday photo shoots for residents at $45. I mean, where else are you going to get that? Beautiful photography work and beautiful setting in the Barnes Museum. So I took advantage of that this past Saturday, and it was fantastic. So thank you to the Barnes staff and to John. Secondly, I wanted to talk. I know Councilman Poulos mentioned Thanksgiving, and I meant to do this at the last meeting, but I received a letter in the mail from Bread for Life about a month ago, and it made me think. There are a lot of organizations doing a lot of essential work. And during this pandemic, we've all been home more than we have been. Maybe our lives have been adjusted, obviously. So I would just encourage, obviously, our fellow councilors and the town of Southington residents to really think hard about what organizations have done great work over the years and can really use our support. And I was happy to support the Bread for Life this Thanksgiving because I know it's good work they do. Lastly, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to two sports teams. Obviously sports has been impacted in a major way this year, but the Southington girls soccer team had an absolutely phenomenal season. I don't know any of the girls personally or the coaches, but it seems like a very good group of young women. They've been together playing on the same team for many, many years. They closed out their season with a CCC Region B postseason win. Obviously, the state tournament was a little bit differently, but they finished with a 14-0 record. Okay, and they just allowed 5 goals against, and they outscored opponents by 59 goals this year. So just a phenomenal job by the Southington girls. The other team that I wanted to recognize was the Southington High School girls cross country. There was another article about them that they had a fantastic year, and they are competing in the Nike virtual tour all across the country. They came in second place in the New England region, so they moved on. So two very bright spots from the athletics programs at the high school. And that's all I had this evening.
Thank you. Paul, you're up next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a reminder for the background noise, if everybody can keep themselves on mute while they're talking, that'd be great. Madam Chair, one item, thank you for recognizing me. One item that I'd like to bring up is on December 22nd, with a bad weather day of December 23rd, we're hoping to have a flag raising ceremony for our veterans in town. We've been working with and was contacted by Lori Ann Danko, whose daughter is graduating from the Army. And she's going to be a full-fledged member of the Army, and she comes home December 19th for a short break before she's deployed. And her mom has reached out and asked the town if she could do a small flag raising in town to commemorate all of our servicemen and women, domestic and abroad, who cannot be home during the holidays. So more to follow at the next meeting, but just wanted to put that out there. It'll be obviously with their current restrictions, it's going to have to be a small event, but we'll keep you posted on it.
Thank you, Paul. Is there anything else? Paul?
That's it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Chris, I saw your.
Yeah, Chris Poulos. Okay.
Poulos has his hand. Yeah.
I just have more item that came to mind when Councilman Lombardi was speaking about our organizations in town that provide assistance and service for people in need. I don't know why it slipped my mind, but today I received a phone call and a text from our friends over at Southington Community Services. asking me if there was a particular day that I wanted to sign up for the annual bell ringing that takes place. And I'm hoping, I'm not a competitive person. I know last year, Mr. Del Santo, Mr. Chaplinsky, and I haven't been paid yet, but that's okay. But I'm hoping that collectively, the council, we can go out, we can set a number, we can work as a collaborative team. Stop
It's
being competitive.
interesting. I need to interrupt you, Chris, because it's interesting because they called me today as well. And I set up December 5th, which is Saturday, December 5th, town council at Stop and Shop.
Awesome.
And we're going to go from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. I'm hoping that we invite our friends and colleagues or family to come, and because we have two doors, the front and both front and back door. And so please write that down, December 5th, 2-hour shifts, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 1, 12 to, 12 to 2, and then 2 to 4. So hopefully we can do that. I'll send out an email to everybody and we can sign up as we can. I hope that works for folks. If not, certainly we can have you go on a different day, whatever. But I agree. I think it's very important. It's funny. We should make sure they coordinate that, Chris, so we don't have to do double work. So, so I already reserved this December the 5th, which is a Saturday from 8 to 4. So at Stop and Shop.
That's awesome, Vicki. And if you could bring your big sign you had printed last year, that was great. And I want to just say publicly, I think we should aim for $2,500. This council should try to raise $2,500. So we'll see what happens.
We can do it.
Double or nothing, Chris, from last year.
Okay.
Double or nothing.
I'm dying of
I'd
thirst.
rather owe it to you than cheat you out of it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm dying of thirst.
I'm blaming the COVID. It's supposed to be March 30th.
Thanks, everybody. Is that it for Councilmatic Communications?
Just to tag along with that. So everyone's so enthusiastic. This is great because I have 2 days. I usually do this every year with my students at DePaulo, but restrictions are a little bit greater this year. So everyone's so enthusiastic. I have 2 other days that we can reach out and maybe try to fill some of those spots. Now, the other thing too is, I don't know, Vicki, if they shared with you, but they said the locations are very strict with only one person at each door versus in the past where you've had, I think there was, like, for example, normally I do it at Walmart and they're only allowing one person there. So I think Price Chopper, they're allowing 2, but it's pretty strict this year. So we may want to look into it because I know a lot of times that's what makes it more enjoyable to have a group of people.
Yeah.
And there's some restrictions with that this year. So we may want to
double check, and I'll get an email out to everybody on the council and to Mark, because I think Mark should be included.
Oh, absolutely.
And his 2 sons are home, so we can even get everybody involved. With all the specifics, they had not told me that, Chris. So I'll double check. We'll get it all set up, and hopefully by the next day or 2, we'll get an actual sign-up sheet, and that we can take care of that. Thank you, everybody. That's very exciting. I'm glad to see we're all on the same page. Let's move on. Reports of special committee. Sewer committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the initial item is the update in the actual sewer plant. So we're at 88%. I know I've kind of provided, serial updates on this per meeting. Our estimated completion date is probably around August 1st, 2021. So as we get closer, I'll try to give some more updates with respect to our actual budget, things like that. One other noteworthy item is that we had an accident at the South End pump station. It was a motor vehicle accident on October 19th. It was not a negligence issue. It seemed to be a health issue for the driver. And we have made a claim under the operator's insurance policy. I've been asked to keep on notice, so I will update the council pending resolution of that claim. If Vice Chair DePaulo has anything else to add, I'm happy to rest on that.
Okay. Anything else, Val?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, and thank you for the update, Bill. Self-insurance, I believe Chris Poulos and Tom Lombardi.
Yeah, Councilman Poulos, go ahead. I think I did last meeting.
Sounds good. So the Self-Insurance Committee met by teleconference on November 18th, last Wednesday. October claims were $335,000 approximately under budget, which is extremely good. We're just over $1.4 million under budget for this fiscal year. Again, we're going to emphasize this monthly. While the numbers are good in this year's budget, our committee continues to monitor the possibility of deferred claims due to the COVID pandemic. And it seems now that as numbers are rising, people might be less enthusiastic about going out for elective procedures or other non-essential medical treatments. As previously stated, there was a $2.4 million dollars deposited to our reserve at the end of last year. And we are continuing to work with Anthem and our consultant to examine the data and to best inform our decision-making as we plan for our budget in fiscal year 21-22. What we don't want to do is think we have this excess of money and under budget, but at the same time, we don't want to maintain a huge extra reserve. And so we're working with Anthem and people that, an actuary, our consultant, to try to calculate the best budget number. Mr. Lombardi, anything to add?
I'll just say one thing. I mean, we always talk about the budget, and which obviously is very important. But towards the end of the meeting, we did have a discussion about some new initiatives that are being driven, I think, across the healthcare industry. There's going to be a lot of new programs for the town employees, kind of like health initiatives and tracking programs and things like that. So it's a very minor investment in terms of dollars, but it's really a good investment in the employees of the town to help them maintain their overall health. So I think we kind of just scratched the surface at the end of the last meeting, but hopefully within the next few months, there'll be a little bit more concrete game plan on that. But it's certainly a positive thing to report to the residents. And I think that's it on self-insurance.
Thank you both very much. Open space, Paul.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a brief meeting for open space this past week. And Chris, Palmieri, and Jim, you both can chime in if I miss anything here. We're closing on two parcels that we've purchased in the last couple months. So good news there. Hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have those done. The Pleasant View property next to the Apollo, Chris Palmieri has been coordinating with the high school team there, who helped to build a shed that was donated for the property on Pleasant View. So town staff is working to help us get that moved by the first week in December, I believe, is end of the first week of December or so, weather permitting, of course. And there's a couple other things that we've got besides some irons in the fire with respect to, new potential purchases. We are working diligently to look at maintenance of a couple properties, our Grosky barn and roof, and also our Leaf barn roof, which has active leaks in it right now that we're trying to quickly get either repaired or replaced. So those are some of the priorities that we have going on. I'm hoping, next year to have a little bit more going on. We've got the Pleasant View shed, but we're also looking to maybe touch up the entrance to that property come spring, summertime next year. So more to follow on that.
A lot of stuff going on.
Chris or Jim?
Paul, just to elaborate on that with the town manager, with some of what Paul alluded to, there unfortunately we may need some funds for some of our maintenance items that Paul mentioned. So Mark, I don't know, when's a good time, when's a good opportunity, but we may want to touch base as you start preparing your budget, because there are some items that we think are nearing critical before things deteriorate even more with some of our town structures.
Yeah, good point. I was going to reach out to you, Mark, on that once we knew more here in the next few weeks. You were in a communication regarding the Grosky barn cost. Once we get the full picture of what, some of these critical items are here in the next month, then that'll kind of give us some guidance as to what we'll have in this budget versus what we may need to wait till the next budget. and we'll definitely talk to you about that.
Very good.
Okay, very good. Having said, I think we're done with our special committees. Let's go right into the town manager's report and communication. Mark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's talk about the Board of Finance minutes. This is the first quarter of the year, of our fiscal year, which has ended. What we do now is we look at to see where we currently stand with our revenues versus budget, because this is the important time to figure out where we currently stand. Obviously, I'm concerned with COVID and where our budget currently is. I'm happy to say that if you look at page 2, section 5, Amelia and I talked to the Board of Finance on where we currently stand with this. We do have a few items below budget, but I'm happy to say that the building department and the town clerk's office fees have really gone above and beyond. So overall, we're about $126,000 to the positive as to our first quarter for the revenues. So that's good news. Obviously, we're going to be watching that closely. Amelia and I meet monthly on this particular aspect of it, but we always report it quarterly just to see where we currently stand. I'm very happy to say that we're doing a little bit better in our investments than we had predicted, even though we're under budget on that. And we did very well with our tax collections, which I know, Madam Chair, I mentioned months ago that I was very worried about that. I'm happy to say that I worried for no reason. The taxes came in even higher than they did last year on a day-to-day basis, year over year. So I'm happy about that part of it. Any questions on that? And we move over to the next section, which is the.
Madam Chair, can I ask one really quick question? Mark, if you don't mind, sorry.
Of course, go ahead.
Mark, when you said tax collections, did you mean not your normal delinquencies, but your deferments under the CARES Act that people have the option of not paying, that they actually paid? Or I just adding context on that.
Yeah, it was the context was, although we believe it or not, we did obviously carry to October 1st. I was concerned about people not paying by October 1st based upon the economy, not being able to pay personal property taxes, our businesses, et cetera, et cetera. That being said, as I said at the July meeting, we actually came in pretty high in July, even though people were able to pay in October. But that being said, we actually had more money come in this October 1st than we did last year on October 1st. So that doesn't mean that the January tax payments aren't going to show the effect of the virus. But my fear was that even though we gave the deferment till October, our numbers would still be low because our businesses wouldn't be able to afford their taxes. That did not come to fruition, at least not at this period of time.
Any other questions?
One other question for the town manager.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Just a quick clarification on page 2 in regards to the expenses. I think your statement was accurate, but the minutes, I think they're missing a word there. It should say, as to expenses, there are not currently any expenditures that we are concerned with. Just so
okay, I talked to revenue and budget. Yeah, as for the expense side, which is the second part of this, Tom's absolutely correct. There is a typo there, but yeah, just so you know, the second part that we go over with the Board of Finance is the lower part of the budget, which is the expenses. So okay. Yeah, we're not concerned about anything at that point.
Yeah, I would say not.
And I know the person who does the minutes is probably listening right now, so she'll make that correction.
All right, thank you.
Also, the only other thing of consequence is that we took on page 7 we took action on the consent agenda. These are items that actually come into the town and then go immediately back out. They're what's called non-affected items, and that means there's no effect on the budget itself. Usually, it's when a vehicle is damaged, insurance payments come in, et cetera, or we get grants. So that was the only thing that took place. I'm happy to say that at least for this meeting, there were no requests for appropriations or transfers. Any questions on the Board of Finance? If not, Madam Chair, we do have executive session tonight. There will be no action outside of executive session.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's move on to the town's attorney report, please. Attorney Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I'd like to discuss tonight is a couple of the court cases that the town of Southington is currently involved in. I would like to update the town council as well as the public. I think I've mentioned before on prior town council, but we've had a lot of zoning violation in town. We have pending action on 2 to 3 of these right now. One we're prosecuting in court right now. Another one is about to be commenced. And the third one we were about to set to commence. And we did get contacted by a resident just recently last week. I've been in contact as well as the town planner and the zoning enforcement. And we believe we have come to a resolution. The illegal action has been stopped. They did retain an engineering firm to get a special permit. So we always like to find when we can come a resolution with our residents. We don't want to have to start lawsuits to enforce these, but unfortunately, sometimes it comes to that. But we want to work with the residents to make sure that we are keeping the neighbors happy as well as the illegal activity is being stopped. So I can say that the zoning enforcement went out onto this property and some illegal dumping was happening, and it has been stopped. And we did get contacted by an engineering firm today saying that they are working on this. We do have 7 cases right now going. We have sent cease and desist letters out to all 7 of the residents. Like I said, one is being prosecuted in court right now. Another one is being started. And the third one, where we were at that point, we think we're coming to a resolution. If we do not get satisfaction for the other 4, they will be heading to court as well. As you may or may not know, there's a certain process. We have to send out the cease and desist letters and the violation letters, and the residents have a chance to appeal to the zoning board of these cease and desist letters. We haven't received any responses back, so we may in fact have a lot more cases coming up soon. We have the cases range from operating a commercial business in a residential zone, storing commercial vehicles on a residential zone, illegal dumping, someone residing in an RV on a residential property, which you just can't do. That's a health concern as well as a violation. And then we have somebody not maintaining a mandatory vegetative buffer in an industrial zone, which we are working on as well. In addition to that, the town is involved with defending a couple tax assessment appeal cases that we get this time of year. There's about 3 of them ongoing right now that the town's involved with. And I'm happy to say the one zoning case that did make some public news was the DeFashion Street property that was having some illegal gatherings of over what the executive orders were allowed, that we did get an injunction ordered by the court, and activities has ceased on that property. That's basically it for my report. I just want to see if any of the town council members have any comments or questions.
I'm going to, so please let me know. Okay, Val.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeremy, just a general question. Are the courts, how are they handling the cases? Are they virtual hearings?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I had to put you on mute, otherwise the echo's coming from your line. So just take yourself off mute when you answer.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Val. Doing a lot of virtual cases right now. Some of these injunction orders they will take on the papers, which they will just take it based on our petitions through the court, and they won't have actual hearings. So they're doing a little bit of both, but no, I'm not appearing in court for these.
That's good. So you're at least not having to go to court, right?
Not yet, but it's changing all the time, as you know.
Right, I know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Jeremy?
Madam Chair, I just want to make a comment if I could. This is Bill.
Oh, yes, Bill, go ahead. And then I'll recognize you.
Sorry, Paul. Jeremy, I just want to say thank you for getting back to me on the Beaton and Corbin foreclosure. I read your response, and it does seem like it was an error, or not an error, but kind of a mistake on their end. So there's no reason for concern, in my opinion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to say one more thing. As we're going through this process, there is a process, and even when the cases are in court, before we get a judgment, we are still hearing complaints from the residents, and we understand them. We're taking them, with all the information, and just want to let everybody know that we are working as fast and as hard as we can until sometimes we get a court order, the activity is not ceasing. And, unfortunately, that's the way we have to pursue this.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you're continuing to take calls from residents and stuff too. That's very important. All right, Paul.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeremy, can you give us an update on the activities and the timeline for the Siting Council topic?
I don't have the date in front of me right now, Paul, but it is still ongoing, and the decision hasn't been made. There is another hearing in, I believe, in a month or two, but it's still ongoing. There has been no judgment or settlement on this.
Okay, maybe at the next meeting in December, you can give us a little more details on that?
Sure, I have no problem doing that. I'll gather the information and present it to you.
Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else for Jeremy? I do have something, Jeremy, and for all of us on the council, it seems as if people are purchasing property and then letting it I've seen a number of houses and businesses that have been left to rot, actually. And so my concern is blight in our community. There's a couple of places that were recently purchased by someone, and they've just allowed the businesses that were there, just, broken windows and boarded up doors and all kinds of things. We can't allow that in Southington. If a person purchases a piece of property, it's with the anticipation that he's going to make it better, or they're going to make it better. They just can't let it rot and go to ruin. And so, Jeremy, I've seen lately quite a number of properties that have been left to just decompose, actually. So that's one of the things I think that we're going to have to really get focused on is in terms of if a person purchases property, they have to have the responsibility of fixing it up and making it better. If they can't afford to do that, they shouldn't purchase the property. So I, for one, am hoping that we can turn this tide around a little bit. I know there's a number of properties. There's a couple of them on North Main. There's one on Eden Avenue. There's just been quite a few properties lately. People have called me about things I've seen. So, it's going to be one of those things, Jeremy, where I think we're going to really need to get in touch with our zoning enforcement officer on these things, because we can't allow that to erode Southington. And so that's all I need to say about that. But thank you, Jeremy. Go ahead,
Madam,
Yep.
just real quick, Madam Chair. Usually the zoning enforcement officer investigates when he gets complaints. Usually the way we do it is he's not driving around looking for the blight. He's usually responding to complaints. So if anybody has complaints about the blight, they can either reach out to Matt, who's our zoning enforcement officer, or they could always reach out to me. My information, my phone number is on the town website. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, or they can email me a complaint about this, and I will pass it on to Matt.
Thank you very much,
Jeremy. If I may, here. Yeah, the process for blight is on my page. There's a blight form. You need to fill out the blight form. It goes to my office. It gets sent to the building department. The building department does the investigation, and then it goes to the zoning enforcement officer and the police department. So if you have a blight complaint, please either contact my office or fill it out online and get it over to us.
That's great. Thank you. I'm going to make a lot of copies of that. No, I'm not kidding, of that form, but we need to make sure we uphold our end here in Southington. So thank you very much, everybody. Last call. Anybody else have any question for Jeremy? Okay, let's move on then. Public communication. Paul, we're going to depend on you for that. We would entertain first I believe the computer folks that are online for us, and then if there's anybody on the phone, if they wish to speak, we'll take those second. Is that correct, Paul?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, very good. The only thing we ask is that you are respectful, and we will be respectful back to you, of course. And we're here. You have 5 minutes. You must be a Southington resident, and we're here. So if there's anyone, Paul, we're going to hand it over to you because you do such a great job with this. If there's anybody on the computer who wishes to address the council, now is the time.
If you're on the computer and you can take yourself off mute, please go ahead now and please state your name and address for the record. Okay, Madam Chair.
Okay.
It doesn't seem as though anybody on the computer is looking to speak at public communications.
Okay.
I have sent requests to the 3 call-in users. I think WebEx has a new feature now. You have to make a request to the call-in users.
I see.
So I've requested all 3 call-in users to unmute their lines if they would like to talk.
Do we have anyone who wishes to address the council?
Okay. All right. That's it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone who is in this meeting. And even though you perhaps didn't speak, we're always willing to listen. So let's get into old business, action on the report of the Board of Finance.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I will make a motion to approve the Board of Finance minutes from November 10th, 2020.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Del Santo.
Thank you very much, Mike. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, any opposition? And I know we have one abstention. Oh, no, that wouldn't follow, Jim. You can vote on this, of course. So it's a unanimous approval of the Board of Finance minutes. Is that correct? Very good. All right, new business, tax refunds. Val?
Madam Chair, I will make a motion that we accept the tax refunds as outlined in our packet tonight.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Bill.
Okay, Bill seconded it. Okay, very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, any opposition? No. Okay, that passes
Hey,
unanimously.
Madam
Yes?
Chair, I'm sorry,
Yes.
just a point of order. Just on the public communications, I just, I'm not sure. There's 3 call-in users. We had asked if they wanted to unmute, but I'm not sure if they know that to unmute, they can press *6 themselves. It might be worth, if it's okay with you, if we can just ask one time.
Sure.
I hate to
Carl,
leave,
would you
I hate to
just
leave
explain
without
it?
telling people.
No, that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
I think that's fine. Would you just explain it again to them so they understand?
I'm very sure. So if there's any of the 3 call-in users who would like to speak now, you can press *6 to unmute yourself. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize for the interruption.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We're doing fine. Now, the next section, section B, are appointments. And there's quite a few, and there's going to be some movement around. And so a couple of things. Paul, when we get to item 3, I need to recuse myself. So I want to let you know that, would you please throw me out of the meeting until that item is taken care of. We are going from item 1, a fire commission appointment, and then okay, we'll just go right through the order, the way they're in. So we're going into item B. On the first one, I have fire commission. Do I have a name, please? Paul?
Hi, Madam Chair. Yes, we have a name of Mark LaJoy.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Madam Chair, Del Santo.
Thank you. Are there any other names to put into consideration? Hearing none, I will move the motion. All those in favor?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
can we do discussion first?
Yes, I thought I did. Yes, please, go ahead. Tom, do you have something
Thank
to
you.
discuss? Yeah.
Before we take the vote on Mr. LaJoy, I just wanted to thank Fire Commissioner Mike Bunko, who has served for 8 years. He's done a great job. He's seen a lot at the fire department. He's been through 2 chiefs. He has worked very hard on the study that has recently started. And obviously they've been very busy over the last few months with Chief Butler's retirement. So just a quick thank you to Mr. Bunko for his years of service to the town.
I
I'll
concur.
second that, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, he served an awfully long time, and he always walked in all the parades. We got to give him credit for that. Thank you, Mike Bunko. All right, there is a name and a second that is up for appointment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the name of Mark LaJoy will be appointed to position of Fire Commission. Mark Shota, Parking Authority.
Madam Chair, I hereby reappoint Mike Gaudio to a term to expire November 2025. He is hereby appointed.
Yep, thank you so much. Item 3, I'm going to step back, and Tom Lombardi, would you just handle this appointment? So I'm off.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are now at the point to nominate a police commissioner. This is a 4-year term expiring in November 2024. Are there any nominations for this position?
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. Robert Triano for the position.
Mr. Robert Triano, nominated by Councilman Mike Del Santo. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is
Second, Councilman Chaplinsky. Any other names to come before the council? Hearing none, I will open it up for discussion.
I just like to thank serving as a police commissioner. I know he's really served the department well, been very active and engaged, and like to thank him for his service to the police commission.
Thank you, Councilman Palmieri. That was Steve Castillo.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair, acting chair for this item. Knowing Mr. Pastillo personally, he's a outstanding servant to the community and a wonderful gentleman, and hopefully look forward to him serving in a capacity in the future as well.
Thank you for that. If there's no other discussion on this, we will take a roll call on this. So all in favor of Jerry Triano signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Robert.
Robert.
Sorry. Jerry Triano's on the call. That's why I got confused. So Robert Triano. All were in favor. Any opposed? Okay, so it passes 8-0 with 1 abstention. Thank you.
For the record, we did have Chairwoman Victoria Triano on mute, and she will join us now for the next item.
I'm muted, Victoria.
I'm supposed to do that? Okay. Very good. Am I on? I'm up.
You are on.
Okay, thank you so much. We have our next appointment is for the Regional Health District. Tom, do you have the nominations for this?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to put forward 2 names for the positions. The first is Elliot Colasanto. The second is Anne Marie Conady. I don't know, need 2 separate motions, or we can just approve them.
Mark? Can we do?
I would do 2 separate motions, Madam Chair.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, the first motion will be to nominate Elliot Colasanto to the Regional Health District.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second. This is Paul.
Seconds it. Are there any other names that we want to consider?
Yes, I'd like to make a nomination of former Councilwoman Kelly Morrissey, who has served Health Board. So I'd like to renominate her.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, very good. So what we'll do is we'll call the roll right now. Madam Chair, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Madam
Chair?
Yeah.
Yes?
We're going
to discussion.
Oh,
yeah. Are we going to have discussion?
Sure. I'm sorry. There's so many appointments today. Yeah. Any discussion? Anybody have anything, Chris?
Tom, did you?
Oh.
Sorry about that, Chris.
Oh, did I interrupt you, Paul?
No, my apologies. I saw Tom, but I hadn't seen you.
Oh, okay. Vicky, I'm just disappointed. I reached out to you. I looked back 3 years ago. We had an opportunity to pick this very appointment, and another Republican former council member had asked to serve on the committee. So we, united, supported that former council member on both. On both sides. It was a Democrat and a current Democratic council member, a former Republican council member, and it was true bipartisan effort. I think this board is truly bipartisan. We have former Councilwoman Kelly Morrissey, who's served on this. It was just her first term. I think she's really brought a wealth of knowledge and experience with her background. She just was getting her feet wet on the board. So with 2 openings, I was just really hoping for a little collaboration here to allow her to continue to serve.
Okay, thank you very much. I would just mention the fact that Mr. John Barry, who is also a prior councilman, is currently on that board also. And so there is representation from your party, Chris. So, but thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Val?
So, Madam, so that leaves representation for our party with how many on that board?
It went to one with this appointment. It will go to 1 Democrat and 2 Republicans.
So overall on the board, how many Democrats will there be?
1 Democrat and 2 Republicans.
And just to continue with that, again, Vicky, this is not any way, shape, or form political. And if it were, with the 2 Democrats, we wouldn't have named Stephanie Urillo, a Republican, as chair. And she did serve as chair, even despite the fact that there were 2 Democrats on there. So, I mean, I just think that speaks to the fact that we were really, truly trying to be collaborative and work together. And, that's why I'm disappointed. And again, there were 2 openings.
As I said to you, Chris, it has nothing against Kelly per se. It has to do with the fact that we would like to have another Republican on that board. And we feel that the 2 individuals that we're considering tonight will be able to attend all the meetings and be there throughout their term. So I appreciate it. And so Paul, did you want to speak?
Yep, I'm not, obviously we'll wait to see how the vote goes down, but I just wanted to say thank you to Kelly Morrissey because, for nothing but great things about her service. And again, hopefully look to have Ms. Morrissey serving in the future as well.
I'd also just like to acknowledge Stephanie Urillo because I didn't hear her name being nominated again too. And I think Stephanie served as a former council member and has done a good job on the regional health district, in fact, serving as chair. So I'd like to thank Stephanie Urillo as well.
Thank you. That's very nice. Very good.
I'll second as well, Madam Chair. I was going to save it for the next nomination, but that sounds good.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Chris.
All right, so I think we're done with the discussion. Is that correct? So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Voice vote, please.
Lombardi,
Oh, point of clarification here. There was two motions.
Elliot,
Which one are we?
No, we're taking one at a time, Tom. And we have
So who's the
Elliot
first?
Colasanto and Kelly Morrissey are the two names that we're voting.
We have to vote. Does Councilman Palmeri's motion take this? Are we voting on?
It's not how it works with nominations. You could have 2 motions for nominations. So what happens is that you're currently discussing the position that currently is held by Dr. Urillo. There's been 2 people nominated for that position. One, Mr. Colasanto, and the other one is Morrissey. So a voice vote would be either for Colasanto, Morrissey, or neither.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. So I think we're ready now. Kathy, would you please call the vote?
Lombardi,
Elliot Colasanto.
Morelli,
Colasanto.
Palmieri,
Kelly Morrissey.
Pulis,
Kelly Morrissey.
Chaplinsky,
Colasanto,
Del Santo,
Colasanto.
DiPaolo,
Morrissey,
Zick,
El Santo.
Triano.
Elliot Colasanto. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Our next appointment to the Regional Health District, Tom,
I will put forth the name of Anne Marie Conity.
do I have a second?
I'll second, Madam Chair.
And Mr. Morelli, you're going to step back from this?
Yes, I abstain from the vote.
Very good.
Madam Chair, just because I didn't realize they were separate, so I'd like to again nominate Kelly Morrissey. I didn't realize the last seat was technically Stephanie Urillo's seat, so this one is Kelly Morrissey's seat. So I'd like to nominate Kelly Morrissey for the Regional Health District.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Can I have a second, Chris Poulos? Yeah, great. Okay, very good. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. Kathy, would you please call the roll? And so once again, for clarification, Anne Marie Conity is up and Kelly Morrissey is also nominated. Two fine people. And so if you would just call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Lombardi,
Conity.
Morelli,
I abstain.
O'Meara,
Kelly Morrissey.
Kelly Morrissey.
Chaplinsky,
Conity,
Del Santo,
Conity.
Paolo,
Morrissey,
Zick,
Morrissey.
Triano.
Anne Marie Conity. So we have it, right?
4-4.
5-3-1.
5, 3, 1. Is that
Right.
correct,
No.
Kathy?
No, I don't think so,
I
Mark.
think so.
4-4.
4-4.
Or 4, Mark.
4-4. It's 4-4.
Who was the fourth? I must have miscounted then. I had 5, 3, and 1 abstention.
You have
Who was
Chris, myself, and Bill Dietzick for Kelly Morrissey.
Okay, I missed that one.
So in that situation, it does not carry? What do we do?
In that situation, then Kelly Morrissey's not reappointed, but she serves until replaced or you take further action. Because her seat's not been replaced, so if you don't have another name, then she serves until you bring it up again or another name.
Okay. Well, then we'll just leave it right there for right now until we can bring up another
Correct.
name.
I voted Morrissey.
Excuse me? Somebody said something? Bill, was that you? Did someone
I think Bill is frozen, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I think it was Councilman Dietzick, but his computer looks to be frozen. So,
we have his vote. We have his vote.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's 4-4. You need 5 affirmative votes for any action of the council. So therefore, since you're talking about Kelly Morris's seat, until this is brought up either tonight or at a later agenda, she continues to serve on the district.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll look at it in the future, and we can discuss that amongst ourselves as we go forward. Zoning Board of Appeals. There's one member coming up. Mike Del Santo. Do you have someone?
Chair, sorry, I'm going to ask for Mr. to serve in that position.
Robert Ives. Do I have a second?
I'll second Robert Ives, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Are there any other names for Zoning Board of Appeals? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you just call the roll, please?
Lombardi,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Pulis,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
Dezek,
Yes.
Piano.
Yes. It carries. Robert Ives is appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The next are the library directors, and because of the vacancy that Mark LaJoy, by moving up to by Fire Commission, um, uh, we were going to move Tina Riccio up to his position, which would go to 2023. So can I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to move Tina Riccio to that seat.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please, on this?
Lombardi,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morelli, Jim
I'm
there,
sorry. Jim, did you vote yes? Yes. you voted-
Palmieri,
Yes.
Pulis,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
Paulo,
Yes.
Yes.
Triano.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. That carries. The next appointment would be to fill Tina Riccio's spot to next year, 2021. I know, Paul, you're going to step back from this whole process here. So I'm looking for a nomination. Bill, did you want to make a nomination on that?
Madam Chair, I would. Thank you. I'd like to nominate Todd Chaplinsky.
Okay, to fulfill that position. Is there a second for Todd?
I will second that, Madam Chair.
Chair Del Santo.
Thank you, Mike. We've got that down. So there is a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations?
Discussion. Can I have discussion?
We can go right into discussion. Go ahead, Chris.
Just with this commission, not be political here, but this is another board that upsets me because there's only 2 Democratic representations on there, not 3. We had this conversation, Vicki. This is why I reached out to you in advance, and I didn't know what was happening with Tina moving up and whatnot. So I would again ask that we be considered to have another seat on there. We only have 2 seats now. So because just finding this out tonight, I'd like to make a motion to table.
Okay.
Second the motion?
Okay, Val seconded it. So we're going to be voting on the table matter now. Madam Clerk, we're going to be voting on the table. If anyone feels like they want to table it. Again, Mr. Chaplinsky is not, Paul is not on this at all. And Madam Clerk, we're voting on the table. So would you call the roll, please?
Lombardi, Morelli,
No.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Pulis,
Yes to table.
Del Santo,
No.
DiPillo,
Yes.
Dezek,
No.
Triano.
No. There is another motion on the floor to appoint Todd Chaplinsky. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lombardi,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
No.
Pulis,
No.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
No.
Dietzick,
Yes.
Triano.
Yes, the motion carries. I do appreciate all that was being said tonight. Sometimes it's a difficult decision for everyone, but I do appreciate everyone's opinion on this. Very good and fine people were mentioned on both sides, so I do want to thank you. All right, right
Madam
now,
Chair?
yes,
Let's just mention, so I agree that there are very good people named on all sides of this, and everybody that's served and is going to serve, we thank them, and I think they'll do a great job. I'm just really disappointed that this continues to happen. 'Cause our minority leader has reached out to you, and we don't get these names until the meeting.
right.
It's just it's not fair. It's not equitable. It doesn't give us an opportunity to really look at these, the people that you're presenting, or people that we might want to present. So I just want to say how disappointed I am. And it just continues. It started with the library board early on in this term. And now it's happened, with other boards and commissions. And I really think that we all could do a little bit better than this. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you so much, Val.
Madam Chair,
Who's that?
it's Paul.
Yes, Paul, thank
Hey,
you.
just, I know you're going to wrap up the meeting, but I just wanted to say a shout out to all the teachers. I know, we didn't mention it during Councilmatic, but it's been a trying time for everybody, whether, you're in the corporate world or you're a parent, but our teachers are in town and across the state and across the world are really just doing an outstanding job, playing this zigzag game in school, out of school, remote, in person. And I just wanted to give a special shout out to all of the teachers, everybody who's in the school system, Chris, thank you. And Chris, both of you, for what you guys are doing and all the educators out there. It's a tough time. I know in our last meeting, it was Chris, even at the Apollo, it was even just a couple weeks ago was a lot different than it is today. And I know we're in challenging times, but thanks for everything everybody's doing. We just had conferences with the teachers and they're all still smiling, but I know inside it's really difficult for all of you. So keep up the great work. Thank you so much. And, hopefully the horizon, we could see the end zone here in 2021. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That's so apropos. Thank you. Yes, thank you, everybody. And I will entertain a motion to go into executive session. As was
So moved.
mentioned, we're not going to be coming back into public session, so there'll be nothing in executive session. So may I have a motion, please?
Motion to adjourn and to move into executive session.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Del Santo.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you on the other side. Take care.